All right. Shalom, shalom, and shalom, Sister Deborah. Coming this evening with a message. And this message is it's going to cover one, two, three different topics. And I'm just going to start from here. And it's time to talk. So if anybody happen to have a question, or even have an answer, this is the time one has to talk. Sister Deborah is want to also say that when I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna hold on for a minute. So I'm gonna slow it down and hold it for a minute, okay? I should have did that. Mm, okay. We're still gonna wait a few minutes, and then I'm going to dive in. All right. Sister Deborah is going to go on and dive in and what is actually taking place, which many have no idea of what is actually taking place. And that is, and does it, no, it don't really bother me, but it is so powerful how darkness can ban you for the reason of knowing who you are. And it's the different levels of darkness. Okay. Um, Earlier today, I was live and I noticed something like I told you all before, which a lot of you all don't pay attention to pretty much anything Sister Deborah is saying, which is still good. Because don't forget now, when you have a mission from the Most High God, it's between you and Him. You see, that connection is all about you and Him. It's not about everybody else. You come on here to do the work and to serve a higher power. You're not on here to serve the serpent seed nor the spiritual seed. You're here to serve the one that hired you as a servant. You get what I'm saying? So therefore, he that hired you is who is allowable for you. And you must keep in mind who you work for, who is your employer. That's, let me put it like that. So when I see that the Most High Yah is likened to my employer, and that I work on His behalf, it's a good feeling to know that the kingdom chose you before the foundation of the world to work on the earth Are you a long ways from home? Sure, you're a long ways from home. But you have to keep in mind that this is not your home. So if this is not your home, it too shall not receive you as a servant of the Most High Yah. You get what I'm saying? It is to receive you as the opposite, because this is the world. And the world receives not the children and the workers and the servants of the Most High Yah. And 99.9 wouldn't understand that, nor would they believe it. It's because it's not something that their fleshly mind or their fleshly heart can grip and hold on to it and see it for what it's actually speaking of or actually saying. So anyone that's out there, always keep in mind that when you are a servant of the Most High Yah, you must keep in mind that your work, your labor is to serve He that appointed and anointed you to come down to a wicked place to be a mouthpiece on His behalf. That's a good feeling all in itself, y'all. That's such an assurance that your work is not in vain. You see, that your labor is not in vain. When the employer, which is the Most High Yah, assure you that you are my servant and you are laboring on the earth on my behalf. And with that being said, that's the thing that we as individuals who are spiritual servants of the Most High Yah must hold firm to. No matter what goes on in this world, you have to hold firm to it. I sat back and I watched how the difference from me doing live on my phone versus me doing live on my laptop. Is it a big difference? Yes. As it's the difference is so apart as to the north is to the south. You would say, why is that? It's showing you how they rule. You see, they rule and how long they've been ruling since the world has been here. They've been ruling every way that they could see fit. They rule. Okay. And when you think that you somebody, really to them, you're nobody. People don't understand you are not a threat to the darkness. You only become the threat to the darkness when you are the light. That is just so plainly seen. When you are the light, that is the only time that you are a threat to the darkness. Darkness don't have a problem with the darkness. Darkness don't have a problem with somebody on this devil platform having 30 million subscribers, 3 million likes. Been on here 10, 5 years, 20 years with 300, 400, 500,000 subscribers, 500,000 likes. The darkness has no problem with that because they are no threat. Hear me now. They are no threat to them. You see, this is where you know who's who, but even people still wouldn't know who's who. Why? You still have to have the gift. You have to have two certain gifts, and that is the gift of the Holy Spirit and the gift to discern. As I walk this journey and travel this journey in which heavens assigned me to, I noticed even in my elderly years of how darkness would never have an issue in this world. Only the light is a threat to darkness. I sit back and I think, I said, well, how is it if I'm going live, rather I'm going live on my laptop or if I'm going live on my phone. Why is there a big difference? Because see, they're not used to Sister Deborah doing live on her phone. So they hadn't, they never thought to monitor Sister Deborah's phone. Because they so used to me all these years doing live and coming through YouTube from my laptop. What that led me to understand, they have been tampering with the laptop, making sure the messages don't reach out to the world. I understand why. Because the world has sold themselves out to the world, which is darkness. So they don't want any type, even what would I call it? Not even this pen needle. You see the needle pen? Not even, you see how narrow, you see how that mark, that pen is, it's like a pen needle. They don't even want a pen needle, a light, to interfere on this devil platform. They don't want no light, none whatsoever. Now they find pleasure and they are content with people speaking darkness and people speaking what they want them to speak, saying what they want them to say. That doesn't really bring no light. See, in my mind, I'm thinking that the people is so high level evil and they just know that there's some light, but they insist on just teaching you all darkness. That is the case. Why? Because they have sold out. They have sold out. You know how the sons of Yah, when they saw what the men in the flesh were doing with their daughters, it's the same thing Epstein was doing. Back in Genesis is identical to what Epstein is doing. Why you say that? The difference is the heaviness of the sons of Yah that took on what Epstein was doing and found pleasure in it. Why? Because the fathers was offering their daughters up to men. They was offering them up to where the sons of Yah could not resist. They saw what the men were doing with their daughters and how they were selling them off to men that they could not resist. So their mission to come down here and represent Yah turned into them falling into the world darkness. So the sons of Yah turn away from Yah himself, just so they can get a taste of what the men were doing to their daughters. See, I explained to y'all earlier about how in 99.15 trillion has no idea that the man's sperm are the seeds of the flesh. The man's sperm is the seeds of the flesh. What do that mean? The seeds of the flesh of every human being. So when you go into Genesis chapter 6 and verse 1, it lets you know that the men were multiplying. That means if they were multiplying, what are they going to multiply? They start to multiply their daughters. They wasn't including their sons. It was their daughters that they were including. Back then, they always, when they stole Eve's identity, spiritual purpose to come down here, when they stole that, they stole every female purpose on this earth, even their own daughters. So they did exactly what Epstein did in Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 and 2. That's the whole thing that he wanted y'all to always look at and look at it very clear. But what y'all did, y'all turned away from Genesis 6, verse 1 and 2, and you dropped down to the sons of Yah, and you drop further down to the giants. No, y'all, you got to go back up to the first and second verse. It tells the story of what you see today in Epstein. That's how long it's been going on. So if you didn't know what Epstein was doing all the years you've been on earth, just imagine you've been on earth thinking you know what took place in the days of Noah, and it shows you you never knew a rat's behind. That's why I keep trying to tell people, you don't know what's going on. It's nothing in your spirit that knows anything that's going on, because you have to be in the right place in the light. You can't be in the darkness thinking you calling everything like you know it, unless you're living in the darkness doing it one-on-one. People out here thinking they are so sharp in wisdom and knowledge. Here you looking at an old hen pull up to bring light out of darkness in Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 and 2. It's a carbon copy of Epstein and what they've been doing. Why? Because these are men children. Men. And that's what they were doing in Genesis. Same thing. But the powerful part about what they were doing in Genesis, they were taking the sons of Yah mindset away. They couldn't focus on their spiritual mission. Why? Because they got embedded and excited because they were able to get these young. See, another thing y'all didn't understand about Genesis chapter 6 and verse 1 and 2. When they were telling you they were having daughters, y'all, those were babies. Those were babies, y'all. That's what Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 and 2. Those were babies they were having, giving them to men to have them as they please. And the sons of Yah could not resist. They saw the sin and the wicked and the abomination that men were doing with their daughters, so they took as many as they pleased as well. Caused them to lose their whole purpose on the earth. And what was their purpose? To come down and work as the sons of Yah. They come down to work as the sons of Yah. See, a lot of y'all reject 100% truth because the Holy Spirit is not living in you. When the Holy Spirit is not living in you, you have no truth at all. Matter of fact, the light lives in you. That's why, Sister Deborah, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I was on that so deep about Genesis chapter 6 and verse 1. I said, y'all, it was not the giants. It was not the fallen angels. It was what man was doing. And when I mean man, M-A-L-E, y'all rejected. They made you believe it was something else, or it's the fallen angels, or it was the giants. They had you meditating on everything outside of that first verse that told the whole story. Men. They overlooked that. They overlooked daughter. Same thing with Epstein. They've been doing this before Epstein was even born. But Epstein knocked it out of the ballpark. He made it so comfortable that every star, every movie star, everybody wanted a piece of it. Even the one that's leading your country today ate it up. And you all right today ain't got a cock and picking word to say about it. Ain't that sad? This is what caused him to end the world, you guys. The same thing you hear that Epstein was doing is the same thing that took place in Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 and 2. That's why they made everybody focus on the giants and the fallen. They called them the fallen angels. It was no fallen angels detached in here, y'all. Those angels did not fall from nowhere. These angels were the sons of Yah that decided to do and get pleasure with Epstein, like many of them did. Obama, Clinton, Hillary, Nixon, all of them was involved in this. You see? You see all the power punches? That's what it was. To where when the sons of man who comes down like Sister Deborah as a son of man, I'm one of the servants of the Most High as they were, I didn't get involved in it. But they couldn't resist. Because the more younger they were, and they were dispersing them to them, these sons of men were in the flesh, y'all. They were humans like I am. I'm a son of man. I'm not a son of man, a son of Yah. The sons of Yah was just like me. Have a mission of Yah to come down here and do. But except when they saw what the men in the flesh were doing, like your men today. And this is why you all sit and look at me all stupid and cockeyed, wonder why I'm so heavy on man, especially Judah. It's because heavens is that heavy with them. They don't understand what Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 49 and Isaiah chapter 4 verse 1 is talking about. They thinking they're going to the promised land and they're going to have 7 women to 1 man. See, the lust of their minds is just like Adam in the garden. Where are thou? And who told you? He said all he could own up was that he was naked. That's all he could own up for toward. The nakedness of his flesh. He put you on there naked. So you stupid thing. He know you naked. So why was Adam saying I'm naked? Because man's mind is that tainted, y'all. It's that messed up. And y'all give them so many doors to open. They are totally gone, you guys. And it's okay because it's over. So many of you women and so many of you men call yourself spiritual, have supported all this wickedness in among your own men. Y'all adding you to them. I know you don't think so, but he is. So when you hear me talking about feeling it and owning it, it's because light can't stand darkness. It calls darkness out. 99.9 of men who said they have been redeemed, they said that they are saved and they have the Holy Spirit. They are liars from the pit of hell. And that's where they head because they own no truth. They hold the truth in a lie. They hold the truth in unrighteousness. They hold the truth in ungodliness, but sit here and feed you the lies and you eat it up from the floor. Then you get on here and act like you in Dump City and you don't understand nothing somebody is telling you that carrying the light. So I say unto you, really, the catch is the Father wants you to know that in Genesis chapter 6, in Genesis chapter 6 and verse 1 and 2 is the key. And I wrote him that out about 3 years ago, telling y'all that was the key to him ending the world. It didn't have nothing to do with giants. It had to do with what took place. What did man do on this dark earth? He began to have babies, and it wasn't the males. He was selling the young females to every man according to his desire. He was selling them off. Same thing, Epstein. So that means whatever they wanted to do to these babies, they did it. That's what captured everyone. Look how you all lost it. You all turned Yah's truth into a lie. And you taught the lie to the people. Even if Yah opened up the truth to you, you wouldn't receive it. Because you done told the lie to everybody for too long. These pastors, so-called pastors, they are not pastors. They are pastors. They're pastors to the world of darkness. These bishops are bishops to the world of darkness. These priests, everybody should know that by now. They are to the world of darkness. The Pope, the world of darkness. Israelis, the world of darkness. Islam, the world of darkness. They play the same thing today. That Genesis 6 verse 1 and 2 that caused Yah to end the world. And nobody ever, nan one of you would ever own it up. Y'all will not own it. And that's why I say I can understand why you never get no one to say they feel it. You have to have the Holy Spirit to feel truth. The reason why y'all can't feel it because the truth don't feel you. Because it don't reside in you. You tell your flesh mind, you tell your flesh heart that you all that and some. You tell your flesh mind and you tell your flesh heart that you redeemed. You tell your flesh mind and your flesh heart that you saved, that you have the Ruach HaKodesh, you have the Holy Spirit, or you're a servant of the Most High Yah. That's how wicked your flesh is. It'll tell you whatever you want to know. And look you in your own face and stand up on a mountain and claim you are truly the servant of Yah and have not served Yah in any shape, form, and fashion, but you call yourself his servant. That's how bad it is. So I'm glad that wasn't a part of my message, y'all. But I'm glad the Father put that out there, because that also makes me feel good that he's willing to allow that to get out to the point where he say, Deborah, stop thinking that what I want you to say is going to open the eyes of these people. In this day, you are not the servant to open the people's eyes. You're not servant. You are my servant. You are not their servant. You are my servant. I hired you. I appointed you and anointed you and wrote you in and wrote you out. I visit you with truth. I visit you as the Spirit giving you the word. You don't own nothing to nobody. You're speaking as my servant, Deborah. The world knows who you are. The darkest of the darkness on this earth know who you are. Don't be worried about those who proclaim it and acted like they saved and they anointed, they appointed, and they redeemed. Don't play with them. Let them play with themselves as they've been doing. Continue to serve me in spirit and in truth, with the light in your right hand. He's told me time after time, I'm not going to come and make them crooked straight, Deborah. Be the servant I called you to be, to labor, and the labor in this day that's like no other because it's dark. All I want you to do is bring the light out of darkness. And a lot of you all would never get that because you've been in darkness. Darkness is in you. You in darkness. Because what I just said about Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 and 2, that's what y'all right now eating up as far as Epstein. It's a carbon copy. That's why he say the day is going to be like the days of Noah. You got to go back and figure out, well, wait a minute, what is this day that's matching that day? None of one of y'all stupid tails knows. You know why? They lock you in on fallen angels and giants. The Father said that ain't it. They got to up that Genesis 6, verse 1 and 2. Just like in Genesis chapter 1, they took everything in chapter 1 and wiped it out. So now y'all understand how to get home. And that's why you're still out here in La La Land, thinking everybody on this YouTube is teaching you to get home. They ain't teaching you. They ain't getting you home. This is your home. This darkness of this earth is your home. And as these minutes go by, you're going to find it out. Because everybody going to answer to the wicked on this earth before you go anywhere. How you serve the darkness and the wicked on this earth. That's why you got the Christians looking for the rapture. You got the Hebrew Israelites looking for Mount Zion to be taken to. Everybody looking to come out of this. But they can't come out if you are of it. Yah is not about to bring you out of what you are a part of. And then people stand back on the brick walls and they sit and listen to you and looking at you all cockeyed at the same time, not knowing that you too, your wall gonna crumble then when you realize you're gonna be left. Because I know the world done told you, you're the one, you're the people. Oh, the rapture gonna take place. He coming to get you. No work, no fruit, no wonders, no signs, no worship, no nothing. But you the one. So I'm gonna go into. I'm glad he gave me that chance to do just that. I went into earlier. Oh, let me tell y'all what happened. when I go on live on my phone, many people comes into the live, even though they might not go into the live chat. But when I'm on this laptop, YouTube have banned everyone. It's not by their choice that they got banned. It's by how they wiped everyone away so they won't tune in. YouTube know what they're doing. I don't have no problem with them doing that. I don't have a problem with them doing that at all. They only let very few come in. You know what that tells me? You special, Deborah. No matter what nobody think and nobody feel, you know you special. For them to be able to do that, and how I realize how powerful of a choice that they made to do that is, guess what, y'all? When I'm on live, they now gets on there and they will send me a message while I'm speaking on live saying this video is on high review. While I'm talking to you all kind of things they saying in the live. And I don't even know if you all can see it in the live. But I'm sitting here wondering, well, wait a minute, why are you bothering this? I'm live and you on here telling me about how this here video that you're doing now is on live. That's the one on the phone. They didn't figure it out. Wait a minute. Now she's on her laptop that we have banned so it won't be able to reach out to others. And she didn't got on her phone. And she reaching out to others. We're going to have to do something about that. So they don't allow me to see my video, you guys, until 2 or 3 hours later after I'm offline. They're letting it swing around, talking about they're investigating it. They checking it out. All these things they're doing to the video. But then in me, it feels good. But yeah, it does. It does. Because it lets you know that you are on the right track. You actually have found the narrow gate. It's no way they would be on you like that had not you be who they know you are. That goes back to what he tell me. Don't be trying to make them people straight. Them people as crooked can be. Don't be trying to give them a right now word and a word so they can be straight. When you finish talking to them people, they're going to go right back into their crooked ways because it rests in their hearts, Deborah. A place that you don't know their hearts. You might be able to discern who they are, but you don't know their hearts, Deborah. I know their hearts. And I told you, no matter what you do, your mission, I hired you, I appointed you, I chose you to labor and work in the vineyard to bring in this wicked day, Deborah, some light out of all the darkness. And believe it or not, knowing what Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 and 2, which I did that 3 years ago, is saying, it's actually enlightening you to know that the Epstein situation been going on way back then. And that was the main reason why he ended the world. And they taught you it was about giants and fallen angels. But listen to this. Where the mystery is. Where is the mystery, y'all? If you were to anybody, I don't know if anybody ever read Genesis chapter 6, 1 to verse 1 to 5. Have anybody ever read that? If you read it, you can see the mystery. And 99.9 never saw the mystery. There's a mystery in that. And the mystery would allow you to know that the same thing they did then is what they're doing today. And when I say today, I'm not talking about the 2026. They've been doing it. But because they believed and they taught these preachers, these bishops, these popes, these evangelists, these apostles, these prophets, these prophetess, these Maureen, these seers, these watchmen, they've been lying to y'all. And y'all been eating their tails up for no reason at all. They've been lying to you. They ain't never told you the truth. There is a mystery. Watch this. Let me just go back there to show you the mystery since y'all think I'm playing. When the Father wants you to know what took place in Genesis. In Genesis chapter 6. In Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 and 2. In Genesis chapter 6, here it is. He wants you to know that he's going to end the world. Okay? If he's going to end the world, why did he start here? Because he wanted to really give you an insight on why. And he does not start with verse 1 and 2 for you to overlook 1 and 2 and drop down to the fallen angels and drop down to the giants. Watch this. In Genesis chapter 6, verse 1, and it came to pass when men, that's the key, y'all, women, and men. That's the key right there. He's actually telling you what made him in the world. And the elites, the Catholics, and the Europeans made you all think that it had some connection to do with the fallen angels and the giants. It didn't, y'all. Ain't no angels fell. No angels fell, y'all. That was a lie. So what did it say? Genesis chapter 6, verse 1. And it came to pass when men, why won't we own this thing? See, that's just what happened in Genesis chapter 1 and 2. We gave, and 3, in Genesis chapter 3, we as human beings gave men, males, a to-go pass. No one ever questioned the fact that, wait a minute, why is he dealing with males? Because males were always the weaker link for Satan to take on. 1 minute, you guys. I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, I'm sorry. The males were always the weaker link. That's why the world in the condition that it's in today. Let me say that again. That's why the world is in the condition that it's in today. Let me say that again. That's why the world is in the condition that it is today. So here go Epstein right here. Genesis chapter 6, verse 1. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them. Freeze. That's it. That was it. That's why y'all destroyed the world. Because you all didn't understand that the Roman Catholic, the Jesuits, and the Europeans that call themselves Ashkenazi, or whatever they think they is, they smeared the book. See, this book is not the word. The Father is the word. This book is a study guide. And man is all up in it, doing wrong. They have smeared even Eve purpose for the earth. Right at the beginning. They've been stealing. When y'all say light, they say dark. When y'all say up, they say down. When y'all say right, they go left. This is darkness. This is how darkness rumble, y'all. They go the opposite way of y'all. So here in Genesis chapter 6, verse 1, it says, and it came to pass when males, notice you don't see woman, you don't see grandma, you don't see daughter, you don't see mothers, you don't see wives. You notice that? You don't even see the daughters being considered wives. You know why? They wasn't selling their daughters as wives. They were selling their daughters as prostitutes. Same thing Epstein them doing. That's why, to Sister Deborah, it bothers me that everybody acting a darn fool and can't see this is what they've been doing for a long time. Men. That's the level of where they think, what they think about woman. Is the level of where they have gone today. Like until yesterday. It's showing you the level of how men have destroyed women from the beginning. Look how they doing their daughters. But where's the daughter's mother? Where's his wife in this? See, no one ever questioned that. No one ever even thought to ask that. Because no one cares. They figure these men can do whatever they want. And they are righteous and they're upright and they're just. And y'all said y'all turn to all that darkness that male and men been doing. And y'all okayed it. So therefore, the consequences is going to be paid. Because these daughters were the sperms of these men. Just like every woman on this face of this earth is a sperm of a man. Meaning a flesh of a man. This shows you that it never can be a woman so bad, her daughter so bad, or these females so this and these females so that. No, it can't be. She, you, her. That's your sperm. You see how ignorant women are? You see the ignorance that is in women? They can't pinpoint the fact. Wait a minute, hold up, y'all. We need to back this thing up and land this thing down, right? Any way of a woman is the way of a man. I know they did good. And that's why I don't blame Satan from being able to get the victory, deceiving the whole world. Because this right here, they're not going to tell you the truth when you get to verse 2, Genesis chapter 6 and verse 2, that the sons of Yah, you hear the sons of Yah? Do you know who the sons of Yah is, y'all? The sons of Yah is me as well. That's why I can tell you who he's talking about. These were sons of Yah who had a mission of Yah on this earth. And because they saw what they were doing, who were doing it? Who was doing what, Deborah? Who? It wasn't the daughters. It was the males, the men. It was the men. When you look at Epstein's situation, you can't even blame the women that you see that participated. Because it was set up from the floor for men. They're the ones started it. The United States is the only country that has the majority of European men going to every poor country raping these babies. European men. They've been doing it for years, y'all. Years and years. To where it's normal. So ain't nobody thinking about what Epstein did. That's why I have a problem with all that. I have a problem where people make it so bad what he did when they've been doing it. Why did you think Kirk Franklin started doing it? Not Kirk Franklin, Art Kelly started doing it. Art Kelly trying to figure out, well, what are y'all talking about? What's wrong with it? Why do you think Diddy started doing it? Because it's known what European men did. Even to today. They've been doing it years ago. So these darn Negroes get out here, think they got money, and they can mimic what they do. That's why Jay-Z and all of them, now they in hot water. Why? Because what the elites do to them, use them and abuse them, and then give them, sell them to the wolves. Should they be sold to the wolves? Yeah. Because y'all gonna get the elites. But they need to be sold. Jay-Z and Beyonce talking about they put a hit on Rihanna, all that bull crap. But you know what that got to do with? They ready to hang him like they did Diddy. And the world look at Diddy as if he done something. But guess what? The European men been doing it, y'all, for years. What Diddy's doing, the European men been doing it for years. They've been doing it, y'all, for years. That's how they got away with letting you think in Genesis chapter 6, it's about fallen angels and giants. You missed the whole thing, y'all. You missed 1 and 2. That's what it was about all the time. The fallen angels, it's no fallen angels there. These were men of Yah that couldn't resist what men were doing with their babies. Just like over in Epstein situation. And Epstein is not the bigger picture. These people been doing this way before Epstein was even born. That's why I really don't care for people. Because people want to nitpick out what's wrong and what's right. They don't ever want to call wrong, wrong, and right, right. They cannot find their way to see right for right and wrong for wrong. They always got to make it and separate it. Oh, this is right and this is wrong. This is right and this, all of it wrong. It was wrong before Epstein was even born. All over the world, in this country especially, the number one country of Europeans going over to all these poor countries, raping these babies. They've been doing it. The men, the European men, been doing it. And nobody says a word. So here I get on here, and they can come to the smallest of the smallest person on YouTube and hold back people from the page. Only when I do it on my laptop. But now they know, because they tagged me 2 or 3 times on my phone, they already started on it. Banding people. And they, you know what? You sure better band them. Band them real good. Because it ain't going to stop me from bringing light out of darkness. But what that tells me, that on this page that I am on are my enemies. They're not for me. They're against me. Because if Satan knows, then they know too. You see? They ban. This is what they do. This is what people do. They don't have no light in them to even realize they're in the midst of light and not darkness. Earlier, we talked about Hebrew, the book of Hebrew. So if anybody ever tell you about Epstein, tell them sit their tails down. Go to Genesis chapter 1, Genesis chapter 6 and verse 1 and 2, and sit their tails on down. You ain't talking about nothing. These people been doing this all this time, and ain't nobody have a rat's behind word to say. That's why I tell y'all, every time YouTube put an album on, a dark and wicked album, everybody on YouTube start dancing. Oh, I got to make a video. Oh, I'm talking about Epstein. Oh, I'm talking about whatever this devil put on that record player to play whatever album. Every bishop, every pope, every pastor, every apostle, every evangelist. Now, these are people of the world. These ain't real ones. That's why you know they ain't real, because they don't cover it in righteous. They cover it in unrighteous and ungodly. They will not cover the topic under righteousness or ungodly. They're going to cover it the way the world cover it. They don't have it's no spiritual, nothing of righteous in them to cover these stories by righteous and by upright. They got to cover it by unrighteous and ungodly. That's the only way they willing to get on this devil platform and rumble. Nobody gets on this platform and rumble in righteous or godly. They got to rumble under unrighteous and ungodly. That's the only way they would do it. So we went to Hebrew chapter 4, and it dawned on me something here. When I was covering Hebrew in chapter 4, I end up talking also earlier about the rest. A lot of you all think that you got the Sabbath, and I was telling you about how people hide because they think y'all don't really see how they're portraying the honoring a Sabbath. What people don't understand, y'all don't give a care about you not honoring the Sabbath. Wake up, everybody that has the Holy Spirit, because I know most of them don't. He cares not about you recognizing what he meant in Genesis about the rest or about the Sabbath. Sabbath ain't here for you to control it. I know it. Y'all got it bent. Because from Muslim to Jehovah Witness to 7-day event, you got Christians, you got Catholic, everybody serve a Sabbath the way they flesh desire. And I have learned that that's a good thing for darkness. Serve it the way your dark self live. Because you ain't serving it in the way of the light. You ain't serving it in the way of Yah. You're serving it in the way of darkness. But that's one of them numbers where you're calling it the light. So the Father wants me to say in this message, serve all you want the Sabbath that pleases thee. But he has no part in the day that you portray that you serve him. Even those who would take the Sabbath and portray that they're walking therein, not knowing that the Sabbath ain't for you to control. The Sabbath was never the way man serves the Sabbath, the way man has orchestrated the Sabbath, the way the man has created the Sabbath for you. The Father wants you to know, y'all had it wrong. Y'all missed Genesis chapter 1. You missed Genesis chapter 2, and you missed Genesis chapter 3. But if you missed Genesis 1, you gone already out of the ballpark. You see? So go on and get in your line called the narrow gate and follow everyone that's going that way, because that's your direction. Here in Genesis, here in Hebrew chapter 4, it gives you a little bit of insight of what Sister Deborah used to teach about the Sabbath. The Sabbath is not what people think it is. The Sabbath is not what people thought it was. And the good thing about it, I like the way the Father rumble. He don't let them handle it. He don't give it to them to handle, because they got lost in it. That's how the Roman Catholic was able to steal it and make it for Sunday. That's how easy it was for him to steal it and make it to Sunday, because they didn't understand the Sabbath anyway, because the Sabbath is not for you. Just like I said, was telling you about what they call the Lord Prayer. It ain't for you. It's for a certain spiritual seed that belongs to the bosom of the Father. And they are considered the makeup of the body, where Christ is the head. It is not for everything outside of the body, but who does it? Who are dedicated to it? Who portray the role, and we are so embedded, we teach it, we preach it, we're in it. People who not in the body. It's easy for them to say the Lord Prayer because it makes them feel, I don't care what nobody say, I'm in there too. So they say it not knowing it's not meant for them. Let's go. Hebrew chapter 4, verse 1. Let us therefore fear. Fear is what? Let me get my board again. Okay, here we go again. I wasn't planning on using my board, but I'm gonna use this bad boy. I'm gonna start with okay, what y'all don't understand that the Father had set it up from the flow up from the kingdom. He branded the spirits that he sent down here. Did they get all of it? No. Every spirit does not have the same. Some have two, some have one, some have them all. Okay? Let's take, for instance, Abraham. Okay? So here in Hebrew, in the book of Hebrew, chapter 4, let's go. Let us therefore fear. What fear? There that fear is. See? What is that fear? It is let me see, can you see it? The fear is a brand of Yah. There it is. Fear is a brand of Yah. You see that? Somewhere he brand his spirits, his labors, his servant with fear. So here we go. Let us therefore fear lest a promise be left us of entering into his rest. Let's read again. Let us therefore fear lest a promise be left us of entering into his rest. Oh, yes. You ain't gonna get in that, you ain't getting into that rest without this bad boy. Okay, watch this here. And it says, let me get to the rest. And any of you should seem to come short of it. If any of you all seem to come short of it, let's continue. Verse 2. For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. So the gospel was preached to us. Who is that? The spiritual ones, and to them. But the word preached did not profit them. You see? The word preached did not profit them because they were listening to the words from books, the words out of the mouth of man. They didn't hear the word. Okay? He says in verse 2, for unto us, who is us, the spiritual ones, was the gospel preached. Okay? As well as unto them. See, he'd already separated the two. To us and to them. The gospel was preached. What is the gospel? It is the power of Yah. Okay? So here he said it was preached. The power of Yah was preached to them, to us first, and to them. But the word preached didn't profit them. You see how the word didn't profit them? Because the word of Yah is not for everybody. People ain't gonna get it, Deborah, but that's okay. Bring that light out of that darkness. That's all you need to do. Okay, so here he's telling you, right here, he says, for unto us was the gospel preached. So those of us that understand the gospel as the power of Yah, as well as unto them, but the word preached did not profit them. Okay, not being mixed with faith. See, the word that they speak in here, they telling you, you can see it and it's true. They telling you to read it. See what the Bible said, what the Bible say, but they forgot. You all forgot. It don't come by what you see. Listen to what he said. Verse 2. For unto us was the gospel preached. That's to the spiritual one, as well as to them. That's to the one that's not spiritual. But the word preached did not profit them. Why? Why didn't it profit them, Deborah? Why? Not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. So the word of Yah, you got to have, what did he say? Faith. The word of Yah is mixed with fear and faith. That's why they couldn't get it. Them couldn't get it. Because they didn't have the faith. That's what it's sitting here telling y'all. Not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. Did they hear it? Yeah. But it mean and it profited them not. Why? Because it didn't have this branded in them. That's why faith is a substance of things unseen but yet believed. This fear is spiritual fear as well. Faith is spiritual, fear is spiritual, what he's talking about. He spoke in Hebrew chapter 4. He spoke fear, which is one of the brands of Yah. He spoke faith. Faith is in verse 2. Fear is in verse 1. Hebrew chapter 4, verse 1, you see fear. Hebrew chapter 4, verse 2, you see faith. Let's continue. For we which have believed, bam, there go belief. See? He's saying they heard the word, but it don't mean a rest behind, Deborah. Because if they don't have my brands in them, they still lost. This is what I have to say to the Hebrew Israelites. You running your stupid tail around talking about you the true people, you the true Jews, you the true fool. Because you ain't even realized after the 400 years you were supposed to come into a oneness of the light, of spirit and truth. And you ain't got neither nor. So what's this thing about you the people, you the true Jew, you the true fools? Now what is happening? Look at verse 3. For we which have believed, they're going to believe. So we deal, first one was fear. The second one was faith. They're going to believe. You see that? For we which have believed do enter into the rest. Hello, the rest ain't for you. Just like earlier, I was trying to teach y'all the Lord's Prayer ain't for your tail. He ain't using the Lord's Prayer for Hebrew Israelites. He ain't using anything that has to do with his spiritual purpose in us under a nation or a nationality. He's using it under the spiritual brand. Now look at this here, verse 3. For we which have believed do enter into the rest. Y'all see? Way back, what did he say? If you missed Genesis, you missed it all. The beginning, which was the first, you missed it all. See, that rest wasn't rest for everybody. Ooh, no, you didn't go there. Yes, I did. And hello, I'm there. I'm there. He's sitting here saying in Hebrew chapter 4, verse 3. For we which have believed do enter into rest. There go that belief, y'all. There go that faith, he said. And there go that fear. Now he's saying those that enter, which have believed, do enter into the rest. As he said, as I have sworn to my wrath, in my wrath, I sworn it to him, Deborah, in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. See, before anything, heaven and earth was even created, before the foundation of the world, he already checked you in his rest. Because what? 99.9 wouldn't even understand what I just told him. It just told you who can enter into the rest. And then verse 3 says, for we which have believed do enter into the rest, As he said, as I have sworn, Deborah, in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. He's telling you right there. The rest was only created for a certain spiritual people. You see how we lied? He always had his ram in the bush. And we denied his ram by putting all of our tails in the bush and said, we all entitled, all of us going, all of us the same, all of us saved. We Hebrew Israelites, we the true Jews, and we the this, we the that, and we the this, and we the that. He didn't say none of that. He's speaking of the spiritual ones that's covered under this belief, faith, and fear. And this is how Abraham came in, under righteous. See, y'all didn't know. He just told you. Even though the works were finished from the foundation of the world, letting you know I already had marked mines before the foundation of the world. This is called Yah's brand. Can you see it? Yah's, let me get this. Yah's brands. Righteous, belief, faith, fear, and hope. He already had put it in there before the foundation of the world. So when everything was finished, those that represent him was already branded. That's who the rest is for. So you can get your tail somewhere and sit down, talking about serving the Sabbath. He wants you to know the Sabbath ain't for you. So you can serve it any way you want to. The Sabbath is for those who already assigned the rest. See, y'all thought y'all was smart. Y'all think y'all smarter than he is, but really you don't. It shows you dumber than dumb can be. So he said, let them celebrate the Sabbath any way that they want. They celebrating it in the flesh anyway. For it is a place that you enter in for rest. And I'm speaking of a spiritual people, Deborah. I told them in Genesis 3:15, there's two types of seeds. The seed of the flesh and the seed of the spirit. The seed of the flesh represents Satan's seed because they serve their flesh. I've been teaching that for too long, y'all, for years on this earth. I even tell people that's why you can't get past not doing anything spiritual. Because you think it's about your flesh making it in. The whole world think they making it in. Now it says here in verse 4, for he speak in a certain place of the Sabbath day, the 7th day, on this wise. And Yah did rest and on the 7th day from all his works. Verse 5, and in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest. Only way you're going to enter into his rest is those brands. You know how the Gentiles getting in? They getting in through the brand of faith and belief. That's the only way they're going to get in. But he's saying that they were branded before the foundation of the world. That's what I keep trying to explain to people. Why is it we don't find ourselves right with Jah? Why is it we just don't get in the midst of his light and do what is right? What is it? Because you don't have him in you. The things in which he said need to be in you is not there. And instead of you searching your own self and finding out, where do I stand with you, Father? You're out here role playing it. So what the Father revealed to me earlier, after I got off of live, he said, you talking about the Sabbath, but you got to understand, baby, the Sabbath, I told you about it. It is a place of rest for minds. I said, yeah, but people really think they pulling some wool over your eyes, Father. They really believe. And you know what? I told y'all on the early video, I learned that within the last, I think, 9 months to a year. Because on Sabbath is the less time people come onto YouTube. Y'all didn't even know they did you. Because they're serving Sabbath under the table in a way that does not fit. But because he said man created them that Sabbath, let them serve it the way they want. Praise the mighty Yah. He said his Sabbath is not served like that. His Sabbath was meant for a people. Not a people flesh-wise, but spiritual. That's why he says right here in Hebrew, chapter 4, verse 3. No, let's go back. Chapter 4, verse 2. Unto us, that's the one that has the brand, was the gospel preached. See, this is why Sister Deborah can come on this Deborah platform and tell you who's clowning and who's not. This is why I can discern who's real and who ain't. I can discern that already. The role playing is so clearly seen because they let the things of their flesh override anything that they might have in their spirit. And it shows. It shows their actions. Now watch what he said. Here in Hebrew chapter 4 and verse 2. For unto us was the gospel preached. Why is it in Hebrew it's telling us? Who is that us? It's the one that entered into the rest, who the Sabbath was made for. You see? Listen to what he says. For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. So did they not hear the gospel? Yes. But were they able to receive the gospel? No. Even to this very day, they don't know the gospel is the power of Yah. They have no idea that the gospel is the power of Yah. That's why the Son of Man, when he came down, he said, oh, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. At that moment, he came to preach the gospel. He came to show us the power of the Father in the kingdom. He came to teach us the power of the Father that rests in the kingdom. And we took our dumb tails and looked left, and he was showing us right all the time. And now we on the earth thinking all this trash that everybody preaching and teaching. It's spiritual. It's dark trash. So then it says here in verse 2, unto us was the gospel preached. The gospel being preached is the truth, y'all. It is of the power of Yah. Watch this here. As well as to them. It was preached to them, but watch this here. But the word preached did not profit them. Why? Because it was the word and not the words. Man live on the words. The spiritual people of Yah live on the word. Woo! I like that. Man live on the words. Those of the spiritual creator live on the word. And he says, the word preached did not profit them. Who is them? The one that heard the gospel speak, but it didn't help them at all. Not being mixed with faith. It didn't have faith. And I've been teaching y'all for the last 3 years, baby. You got to have one of them brands, if not 2 or 3. You can't walk around here and say, I got it. I know I got the keys to the kingdom. I know I'm going. I know I believe. I know I'm this and that. And that's where their spirit messed up at, is when they know and they knew what they really didn't know, nor do they know. They didn't know. They didn't know, knew, and they still don't know. See, they thought it was their mouths got them in trouble. It's their words that they speak to themselves because their flesh keep telling them, you saved, you redeemed, you this and that. They never went to the face of Yah and fell on the floor and kissed his feet to find out where I stand. No, they ain't gonna do that. They don't feel no need. I don't have to do that. I know I'm in there. See, everybody's so assured that they've been redeemed. They saved. They have the Holy Spirit. But you ask them, who have you witnessed to? What is the purpose of you being down here? Y'all, do y'all really think it's about you? You think Sister Deborah's down here for her? No. And you know what? I have always been like that. I've always known that it's never about me. It's about what he want me to say, what he want me to do to others. But I never made it about me. I knew the mission was me laboring, me working, but not me being a laborer and a worker of the Most High Yah. That's what's good enough for me. But who am I laboring before? Who am I working before? That's who it was always about. But people on these devil platforms with all this other dark preaching and teaching, and they on this devil platform standing back in the corners and up against the brick wall. Hey, I got it. I know I'm in. And they don't even understand. You don't even have a fruit. You don't have a work. You don't have the labor. And you don't have the spiritual heart nor the spiritual mind to walk in any narrow gate. Matter of fact, you don't even know the way. You know why? You so busy stuck on stupid, and your flesh keep telling you you are redeemed and you saved, you got the Holy Spirit, you this and you that, just to keep you where you at, in the broad gate. And that's how ignorant people are. They're still walking in the broad gate saying, nope, I'm going through the narrow gate, but yet still walking in the broad gate. So as I looked at Hebrew chapter 4, verse 1 through 5, I realized right then, this is the rest I was talking about earlier on the video. Father, here it is right here, saying exactly what I was saying. Here it is right here. So a lot of times Sister Deborah might be talking and she might be saying strange words and the way she said it. But you know what? When you finish, y'all better see and check what Sister Deborah is saying. That's all you have to do. Dissect what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Some people would say, well, I don't like the way you said it. I don't like how you do it. I don't know like how you speak it. But guess what, baby? The main thing, are you speaking truth? How must truth come to you? How must truth approach you? How must truth come to you? In such a time as this, when truth been existing 18,000 years and people have denied it. And you think Yah in this midnight hour is going to send people here to comfort you in receiving truth? You's a fool, and you're going to live a fool and die a fool. Why would he take this end days that's worse than any other day to send his servants to pamper you so softly, so delicate? And he knew from the beginning it's been off course. But you all wanting him to come in this day and say it a certain way. I want to feel it a certain way. I want her to say it a certain way. She shouldn't say this. She shouldn't say this. You's a fool. You going to live a fool and die a fool. It's no other way he's going to bring it but the way you hear me speaking. Go somewhere else and get the food for your flesh. Because if you're going to get the food for your spirit, and anybody on here appearing to be holy than thou and so spiritual and so dedicated, you know what? They'll run their mouth all day and night to you all year. And I can guarantee you won't have no food for your spirit. Follow them 10, 15, 20 years and you won't get a lick of food for your spirit. Because they're out here to energize your flesh, to draw you in. People will even dress a certain way to pull you in. Just to pull your stupid tails in. Go. Like he said. That rest, Deborah, you just nailed it. It's for the righteous. It's for those that believe. It's for faith and it's for fear. Those who got my brand. That's what the Sabbath was for. That's the true rest, Deborah. While y'all running around here, want somebody to think you serving Yah on the Sabbath day. Get somewhere and sit down with that mess. So here also, I spoke about earlier in Hebrew chapter 4 and verse 12. In Hebrew chapter 4 and verse 12, it says, for the word of Yah, right there. He just had told you all, for the word of Yah. For the word of Yah. You see that? Now go to verse 4. You in chapter 4. Go to verse 2. Go to verse 2. We're going to stay with Hebrew chapter 4. Let's go back to verse 12. And what does it say? For the word of Yah is quick. Now, skip to verse 2. For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as to them. But the word preached did not profit them. Because this word is the power. It holds all things. This word in verse 12, he's checking you, each and every last one of y'all with this. Listen to what he says. Verse 12. We in Hebrew chapter 4 and verse 12. For the word of Yah is quicker. It's quick. Right then, he letting you know it's quick. So you're going to tell me this book, he's talking about this book? Somebody in the live tell me, you think he's talking about this book? Listen to what it says. For the word of Yah is quick. You really believe when it spoke of the word, it's speaking of these words in this book? No, it's not. It's telling you about the Father, who is the word. It says, for the word of Yah, in the beginning, Gospel of John, chapter 1, in the beginning was the word, and the word was with Yah, and the word was Yah. Verse 2, it was with him in the beginning. This is trying to let y'all know who the word really was, who the word really is. That's why I say every last one of these human beings on this devil platform, ain't not one of them teaching you who he was. They teaching you who he is. And who is that? Who is he? Who he is? That's their understanding of their flesh. That's their interpretation of their flesh. That's their wisdom of their flesh. That's their knowledge of their flesh. That's their understanding of their flesh. Themselves have no idea who he was. And if you don't know who he was, you really don't know who he is. Because right here in verse 12, Hebrew chapter 4 and verse 12, for the word of Yah is quick, powerful, sharper than a two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing as under of the flesh and the spirit. Why you going there for, y'all? Why you going there? Gotta tear that stinky spirit up, Deborah. Let him know. Your spirit is just an image of me. I cut that thing in half with the quickening of who I am. Mess with me if you want to. See, y'all don't understand this creator. Oh, I know it's funny to y'all. You laugh and you joke with it and you play with it. Let's see what you're going to be doing the rest of this year, going into next year if you make it. If you make it. Let's see what you're going to be doing then. See if everything going to be laughing material. Because here he's telling you, I will cut your tail in half. All the way down to your spirit. I'll chop that bad boy up. You think he playing? That's what's going in the lake of fire. An individual spirit. So that's what he's telling you right here. I'll tear that sucker in pieces. You don't know who I am. I am that I am. I told you I am. I can be whatever I want. I am this, I am that, I am this. And they tell you what? I am that one that is the two-edged sword. What did he say? I would, the two-edged sword, piercing even to dividing as under of your flesh and your spirit. Say something if you want to. And your joints. Say something if you want. I get your marrow. I go all the way down to your bone marrow and cut that mess up. Then he turned around and said, and is a discerner of the thoughts and the intents of your heart. Sit down, clowns. He's sitting here telling you the power of who he is. And you run around here monkeying around with these people and playing with these people as if they know him. And they ain't nowhere near him, but you eating them up and everything they saying. Everything this world is doing, y'all sitting around eating it up, justifying and clarifying and identifying it to be some type of righteousness. It is all ungodliness. I love that, Father. Yeah, I like that. And I like where he said, and in the discerner of the thoughts, I know your thoughts and the intent of your heart. Mess with me if you want to. I love that, Father. Yeah. I love that. Because when he started saying he can slice that spirit up, y'all better sit y'all tails down. If you want to pretend you got them, you better go somewhere else and do it. And sit your tail down. Because there's no way I'm going to try this one right here. He's sitting here telling you, keep messing with me if you want to. He's telling you, don't mess with me. I'm the word. I'm quick at what I do. I'm quick at what I say. Mess with me. That's all he's saying. And did you know the world will miss it? And this is why it's in a time like no other. Many of you all have not even thought to study that. If you would have went in and studied that where you're at today is like a day like no other. So therefore, it's worse than Lot. It's worse than Noah. Y'all just don't get it. But y'all sitting around here tiptoeing and playing with all these people on this devil platform, making them think that they righteous people, they upright, they justice, they just. And how do you think they get away with it? Because many of people embed in it and play in it and make them think they doing something, saying something. They are really about spirit and truth. These people ain't doing nothing but playing in darkness. And you keep running straight into darkness playing with them. So here in verse 13, he says, no, that was 12. I like what he was saying in 12 because he actually told y'all right there what I've been teaching y'all the last 3 years. He is the word. This book is not the word, y'all. Mess with me if you want to. I told y'all got him bent. Y'all got the Most High Yah bent all up and down. Y'all have no idea. But he said, leave him alone. You my servant now. You ain't here to try to get him straight. Did y'all know that? He don't want me to come on here and try to get you straight. He just want me to bring the light out of the midst of darkness. The light coming out of the midst of darkness ain't here to change you. Because if you ain't changed by now, you ain't going to change. You who you going to be for eternal. So the game is on you. He already done got victory in it. He orchestrated it before the foundation of the world and got all these fools on this earth thinking they in control of the game. Now, baby, he rules it. Even Satan knows that. So I, Sister Deborah, appreciate each and every last one of you all tuning in. Did anybody in the live chat have any questions? If you have any questions, I'm going to give a few minutes for anybody that might have any questions. And the live chat is open to any question that you might have. Before I tune off, I do give all glory and honor to the Most High Yah for being the beginning and truly the end. I'm just so excited about his end. I was excited about his beginning. You know why? This sister excited about his beginning because the way he taught me from the wilderness, he taught me the truth of his beginning, and it's beautiful. The Most High's truth from the beginning is beautiful because he took me to what took place before the foundation of the world. That was before he created the heavens and the earth, before any of that. He took me to what took place before. And when he sealed me as a young person with that, it lives with me today. This is the reason why I can't come down and play with you all in a way that you want to play with all these people on these devil platform, thinking this platform is a place of worship. Nope, it is the devil's platform. And many of you all tune in to the devil's words. And that's why you could not find, all the time you've been on YouTube, you could not find your way in the bosom of the Father. So you played, you faked it until you think that you're going to make it. That's what most people do. They fake it and hope that y'all going to allow them to make it. But what they did not do, and many of you all do not understand, it's over. So the faking it, you lost. You lost. That's why people cannot stand up for righteous. People would not stand up for just. They don't have no respect for his prophecies. Everybody is mesmerized by everything that's going on. I hear people talking about the weather and all the hail balls that's coming from the sky and all the weather and everything that's taking place. These things need be. But you notice one thing about it. I noticed. I'm sorry, you might not have. It's nobody's moved by none of it. That's a dangerous stage to be in. You think the Titanic went down. All of this stuff that's taking place in the world, and the flesh of men and women are not, or male or female, are not moved by it. What is that sending? What sign is that sending? Next, bring down your next power. That's what y'all telling them. And that's why I try to teach you all that you walk around here, can't feel it, can't see it, can't behold it, can't grip it, can't see it in the spirit realm, can't see it in the natural realm. You can't see nothing. But you don't have to see it. The Father said it's over, whether you see it or not. It's over. These are the stages in which was prophesied what comes after this. So all this is him. All these things that everybody is on their YouTube page and booming and getting all likes and subscribers and all this stuff is to give the people what they need on the earth, because they don't take no heed to nothing Yah says. So Yah said, let you learn it from the flesh of individuals in the dark. Get your food from there. And I really like that. I really do. Because when I think of him saying it's over, that means let them go there and get it. They don't believe nothing else. They want unity. Let them go get the unity elsewhere. And I'm with the Father on that. Because he is the one that can bring all light. But he's not going to. If he says the day that we're in is like no other, that's letting you know there's about to be darkness in a way that human beings has never experienced it. And the reaction of it, it's going to be off the chain, because they thinking that no prophecy has taken place. They thinking that this is normal. People are actually thinking that, y'all. People thinking everything going on is normal. Because I sit back and I say, all this that they're doing and they taking from these people, do these people see that they finna get it? No, they don't. They thinking it's good. Oh, I'm good. Especially those who think they got it on going on. They're going to override it. Y'all going to make sure they fall first. Head on. They're going to fall first. You think that what you got going to keep you and save you? I'll tell you what. You're going down first. See how you stand up. He have to. Because this is the sort of mindset people have. To where they can actually say, oh, ain't nothing going to happen. Oh, that ain't going to happen. Because I got my stuff, my T's crossed, my I's dotted. Ain't nothing going to happen. And if it do, I'm good. I know I'm okay. That's the mindset of the flesh. Those are the people who are serpent seeds. truly serpent seeds, calling themselves spiritual seeds. Those are serpent seeds because they had checked all their boxes and say, I'm good. So who they saying that to? The one that's about to allow fire on the earth. He gonna make sure he get you first. A lot of people don't believe that, but this is the truth. Because he said in Hebrew, I know the thoughts, your thoughts, even the thoughts of your heart. See, people thinking he don't know nothing. He just as dumb can be. But they think they smart, but the Most High is dumb. That's how they treat him. Because they think they are ahead of him and above him and before him. They think everything. And that's just how, let the people think that. So I, Sister Deborah, say I appreciate each and every last one of you all. And I don't know what they're going to do with this channel, with this stage, with this video. They might hold it. I doubt it. They just didn't like the people coming in on my phone when I'm live there. They don't have no problem with this one. They put a cap on this one so no too many people don't enter therein. I don't have no problem with that. Because I feel if people don't enter into the bosom of my Father, bam, they don't need to enter into this page that I'm on. So I, Sister Deborah, appreciate each and every last one of you all in the live chat. And I will say, shalom. I will be back. Shalom and shalom.